So we briefly have talked about a few of these little pieces. The help file, you have it at the top or the bottom of any page. So depending on what you're doing, you can always get there. Another cool thing about the help file is a couple things like this. You actually have options for Adilas YouTube training videos. From any help file, you can pop in here, you can scroll down, and you can say, hey, I wanted to see how to create a quote. You can click on it, and it'll actually load it right in here to your different player. We also have a ton of other ones that we're working on that are in a thing called Adilas University. So right now, this is very basic, and we're only showing about 50 videos that we have here, but I've uploaded probably another 50 since then, just to kind of, but we're building an application right now to organize these different little things, but we have tons and tons of different little videos on, how do you do an expense receipts, and how, what are the key players inside of Adilas. There's tons of different options there. Awesome. So I've kind of been talking quite a bit just as a light introduction, and all we've kind of covered is kind of our top little header bar. It's on every page, okay? So say, for instance, I went to a deposit, and just for fun, let's go to, say we went to deposit 1,000, okay? Boom, it was for $189, and it looks like it came from somebody in Texas, some different little things that were going on, and then it looks like we had a little credit card fee that was applied to it. What happens once you're here along the top, it's very important that you kind of know what your different pieces are that you have to deal with. Okay, awesome. Shannon, anything else that I would need to cover as far as kind of like an introduction to a system? Do you have any ideas or anything? Actually, does anybody? Santiago?
Yeah, just kind of the videos, help files and videos. Because like you said before, every page has a help file, and basically when you start learning the system, you're going to need a lot of help.
Well,
in the videos.
Correct.
Are so good.
So what we're going to do is, even what we're doing right now today is we're recording these things, and so we will eventually kind of be putting these things up to more and more videos, and we're creating an application right now. The interns that we hired, basically we ran an ad at Utah State University. We had a number of people apply. We actually hired 3 different interns. They're going to be helping us, and we're doing training. And the training that we're doing right now is dealing with media and content and organizing different things. And so it's going to be a cool new piece of the puzzle. But basically, it's a way to organize your files and your data, whether it's externally held, internally held, or you physically have put it up on our servers. It's a way to kind of map to those different little pieces of media and such. Okay, awesome. Cheryl, yes?
And maybe you don't want to go here right now, but I really like your custom homepage that was done for the teachers.
Oh, great. Watch this.
Just so that somebody can see
Sure,
that they can actually do their own.
So I'm going to go to a different play site down here, and this one has a completely different feel to it, okay?
Oh, yeah.
This one has a more graphical one that was completely developed just for teachers, okay? So this was a little, what we would call a custom wire job, but you can make your interface look however you want. So these teachers, what they're doing is they're coming in here and going click, and then they want to find their particular person. If they wanted to go to Wendy's record, they could go right here to Wendy's record and see what they've added to it, okay? Or if they wanted to, they needed a way to actually add data to stuff. And so they're like, click. This is still using Adilas. Basically, instead of using a student, what we do is you have to realize there's things called corp-wide settings, okay? So a student is virtually a customer. So watch this right here. You have a customer, okay, and they are actually potentially tied to a user, which would be considered like your salesperson, okay? So a user to a salesperson to a customer, this is the relationship. And then eventually they create invoices or log things. Well, what we do inside of Adilas is we say, scratch the word customer, put the word students, and instead of saying employee users, change that to teachers. And all of a sudden, you could have a student-teacher relationship just by using settings, which basically allow things to cascade. So for instance, watch this just for a second. So if I go back home for just a minute, you can see that this is their home page. If we go here to the student home page, it's virtually, you'll see the word student is cascaded in multiple places. Watch this. I'm going to go Control F and find me student. Okay. These are all the different places that it's cascaded across this particular system, okay? You can see where we cascade these settings. Watch this. We will stay in this corporation right here, and we're going to come back to this exact same page. Just so that you can tell it's the same page, here's the name of it, customer_search.cfm, okay? What we're going to do is I'm going to hit home, and I can't get to the settings from this particular page, so I need to go a little deeper. So I'm going to go to my classic home page. I'm going to come and drop in here, and I'm going to say, I'm going to manage my information. I'm going to go to my settings, and I realize I'm kind of popping in here quick, but I'm just going to try to show you. I'm going to scroll down until I can find the word student, and I'm going to change this. What would you like me to call it?
Pupil.
Pupil. P-U-P-I-L? Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna leave a couple of these other pieces just the way they were, just to kind of show you how some of these settings are. There are tons of settings of what you can make Adilas do. This is a great page to kind of get in there and figure things out. I'm going to scroll to the bottom. So the word pupil, I'm going to hit Save Settings, and I'm going to go with this. Send me home. I already see the word pupils cascading into my quick search, and I'm going to go with this. Go to my pupil homepage. Now watch this. Let's search for the word pupil. And that's a tough, Joe, you know that I can't spell. I don't know what you were doing, but like, can you see how things just cascade? Like no matter where you go, say I actually wanted to search Wendy. Go find me Wendy, okay? So if I come in here, here's my pupil ID. If I click on her log, guess how many times I'm going to see the word pupil? 50 million, okay? Did I click on that? I don't know if I clicked on that. Okay, so right here, I'm going to do pupil again. So let's see if it'll find me my next little piece. Pupil, 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 pupil. Like, you have to realize once you change one setting inside of Adilas, you could potentially cascade that thing into wherever you need it to go. And that's actually some of the power. If you're okay, what I'd like to do is, as we're even just introducing this, let's just show you a few of those different settings that we actually have. But it becomes powerful because all of a sudden, Nick, for your industry, on the MMJ industry, you don't have pupils or students or customers. You have patients, okay? So literally, that's literally just a simple little flip of a switch, and all of a sudden, it's now patients. So it's my patient log. It's my patient invoice. I'm going to tie an element of time to my patient. Like all of a sudden, you can talk their language. And so that's what the settings actually allow you to do inside of Adilas. Okay, awesome. What I'm going to do right here, are you okay if I change this back to student just so that somebody else doesn't freak out?
Or hooligan.
Or hooligan? We totally can do hooligan. Joe, I'm glad you're here. This is great. That's awesome. So basically what we're doing is we're in here, and there's a little thing, and you can see how mine says add, edit district-wide. Well, guess what? Normally it would say corp-wide settings, okay? They changed the word corp to district in this particular instance, okay? So right here you can even see some of the different things. Often what happens is if you're willing to go down and you like to read, you can do it in two ways. You can, if somebody says, go to setting number 12, you could just go right here, and you go right to 12 and you modify it. Or you can just lightly read what it is, or if you really wanted to read about it, you could do this. Or if you wanted to even go deeper, you can click on the help file and get all of the information, the nitty-gritties and maxes and mins and whatever. But like, there is a depth to what we have of the different pieces. So I'm going to go to pupil real quick and just change that back to student. Okay, so just briefly, you can control what you call your entity. What do you call your world? Is it an LLC? Is it a partnership? Is it a corporation, a company, etc.? What do you call your locations? So in a dispensary model, basically they call it a dispensary. Okay, in a vehicle and trailer dealership, it's your store or your location. In a school, it might be called, who knows, or campus, or whatever. Like, those are basically what happens. Here's one of the things I realize I bounce around a lot, and I hope it's okay. So we were actually, you're basically at this level right now. We're modifying the world settings inside of our little teacher-student world, okay? What we call our locations is actually the next layer down. Is it a dispensary? Is it a store? Is it a job site? Is it what is your locational area type stuff, okay? And then as you get down deeper, we even allow some of these settings to be changed as well. Okay. So we kind of are scrolling down here. Teacher, student. This is what do you want to call your salesperson? Okay. In this particular industry, it was teacher. What do you want to call your customers? What do you want to do this and this? Do you want to use the queue, yes or no? This is kind of like a who's next type of deal inside of the thing. It really is handy for people who have people coming in and they need to service them as they come in. If it's just general retail, you don't even want to use the queue. You just want to be like, whoever's in the line is just the next person that comes through the line. So like, you can just kind of hide different options depending on if you need them. Right now, you can see how this little thing says show. Watch this. I'm just going to come right up here and I'm going to open up just a new little tab just to show you what the queue is just for a second while we were popping through it. So if you click here, you see this little thing that has a little line in it. You could click here as the queue, and here is what you actually have in your queue. It looks like somebody's actually added a whole bunch of different little people to the queue. Okay, but if we wanted to add Wendy to our queue. Okay, here's Wendy, and we could go like this. Wendy, and it looks like they actually called it lunch ticket instead of queue, so they were actually renaming the whole thing. Okay. So anyway, here's Wendy way down here at the bottom that we just added. Like, I don't think anybody's been in here playing. This is just a play site. But they renamed the queue as lunch ticket line or something. But like, who knows what you're doing? But like, they were just kind of playing. I just wanted to show you that just some of the different little pieces of the puzzle. So as we come down here, there's a bunch of different things that you can change. Here's where they were. I should have looked a little deeper. I didn't even look, but they actually called it lunch tickets. Okay. But you come through here, you can name some of the different invoice types that you have. Invoices probably have 20 to 30 different settings, okay? It's probably one of the most flexible pieces around. Do you need signatures, yes or no? Do you want custom descriptions, disclaimers? What do you want to call it? Invoices have tons of different little pieces of the puzzle that actually allow you to do it. For instance, have a great day is going to be on their invoices versus no returns without a receipt or something. Like you can modify it however you want. You can put tons of different things. Which is the version that you want to see? The mini version, the big version, a different size version, tons of different pieces of the puzzle. I'm not going to bore you with every single one of them, but I wanted to show you this is the power of Adilas right here. In your settings and your permissions, you say, I will give you this permission and you'll be able to play here. And here's how we're going to play by using these settings. That's kind of some of the power of it. This gets into, do you want to use PO numbers on your invoices? Like say, for instance, you're a nuts and bolts place, and so the person who contacts you, they always are like, hey, put this on PO number such and such, okay? So then you could tie it to their PO number, so then when they get their invoice, they automatically know which PO that was supposed to be associated with. However, somebody who's doing retail may never need that permission, so it's kind of like show, hide type things as far as which pieces of the puzzle you need, okay? Your checkout options, how many payment options? You have somebody who comes in and they always just pay with a single credit card? Or do you have somebody who comes in and they come in with a check and a cash and they might have to split it on some credit cards? You can split payments as far as multiple different ways to do that. Tons of different options as far as what do you want inside of your cart? Do you want to be able to search by part numbers, flex grids, recipes, cart favorite buttons, barcodes? Like you can tell that basically the cart mode, how flexible it needs to be. The settings are important. This is literally where you get to do a bunch of your stuff. And most of them actually have a decent description so you can kind of figure out what it is. On your elements of time, do you want to show it by the month, or do you want to show the daily or the weekly, or like you could actually change it to however you wanted. So watch this. Show weekly results, and I'll just go down to the bottom and I'll hit Save Settings. And then I'll just use my quick search right here. When I go to my time homepage, so my calendar, and if I go home, it'll just show me a week of time instead of a whole month, because you just told it by your settings that that's how you like to play. Okay? So like you can dictate however you want it to do according to settings. That's really how things play. I'm just going to hit back a couple times, use my super back button right here. My virus protection is detecting an intruder. So I'll just go here and I'll go right back and we'll just switch that elements of time setting back to monthly. And we'll go like that, click. But there's tons of different ways. What's your opening and closing date? Do you want to see it 30-minute increments, hour increments, 2-hour increments, 1-minute increment, 30-second increment? Like depending on what you're doing for time would depend on how you actually set up your settings. What sizes do you want? Do you want in one of 4 different views? There's tons of different ways of doing it. Yes, Paul?
I just noticed that when you changed your calendar to weekly view,
Uh-huh.
at the bottom it still said view next month or view this month.
Mhm.
Is that, if you go to weekly, wouldn't it change those icons on the bottom to go to next week or?
That's a great question, and I would actually have to look at maybe the code on that particular thing. Let's actually see what happens, okay? Watch this. I'm going to leave this page open, and I'm just going to go to a different thing here. We're going to go to the exact same thing. We're going to go to the time home page. Time home. Click. Okay, this one right here, let's see here. I didn't resubmit those settings.
You saved month again.
You turn, yeah.
Did I hit save settings? Let's go like this. Okay, I'll switch it back to weekly just a minute here. Show weekly results. I'm going to go Control-N just to get to the bottom fast. Hit Save Settings. Now, on this particular one, if I go Time Home page, I'm going to hit Reset this page. Here's my weekly piece. And this was the question. Shouldn't this actually change to next week, previous week? That's a great question. It may be a spot that we forgot. I'm going to click on last month to actually see what it does, to see if it keeps us in the weekly view or if it actually does. Okay, it actually just showed like a full month's view in September. Okay. Good question though. Great question. Awesome. Here's one of the cool things about the teacher interface. This is one of the coolest things around. If you're actually on the teacher interface, and this is your thing, look at all the different options you have to do right from here. You don't even have to do anything. Like if you were loading things in, you could say, what do I have this week? What do I have next week? Click. And if we wanted to add one just for fun, let's just put one in real quick. Let's say for 10 o'clock, and let's just call it a quick little one just for fun. Okay, I'll just leave it just like this. I won't even modify any notes or anything, and add it. Once you've actually added your element of time, you can tell that this play site hasn't used a whole lot of them. But watch this. If I click on Home, and I say, what do I have in my calendar next week? Yep. Here's the one that I just added. Like, it allows you to jump. Some of you guys, Santiago, this interface would be rocking for sales, okay?
Yeah, we were just talking about this.
What are my follow-ups? Like, look at this right here. If I wanted to go into my follow-ups or my notes, what did I log today? Like, I don't think I have anything in here today. What if I actually said, you know what, let's actually go find student Wendy. We'll pick on her again. We'll add a little log note to her. We'll go add, we'll say add a new log entry, and we'll just say, cool, why don't we call this left a message. Called her because she was sick. Once again, it would relate to depending on what you're doing, but once I add this log entry in here, if I'm home anywhere and I wanted to say, my student logs, what did I log today?
Is there any way that you could link this calendar to our, proxy servers?
There is a way. And so what we have to do there, just so you know, like by default, we give you 3 interfaces, okay? We've actually probably got another 10 or 12 that are really cool that we've fully checked and verified. And basically, just to kind of like, we can add as many as we want to, but what happens is this has to kind of happen on the universe level, if you will. So what happens is the universe level admin basically says, okay, from Adilas, we're going to let you allow you to go to this different page, okay? So we could actually give you the same teacher interface on your page, and it literally would probably take me 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Matter of fact, do you want to see how it works?
Actually, you almost speak with me the other day. We were in a demo, right? Connected my side-by-sides.
Mm-hmm.
My split screen.
Okay.
In like 1 second.
Yeah,
Is that what you're talking about?
literally, that's how we do it,
Yeah.
okay? From the universe level, if we determine, okay, cool, that's what you want, or if somebody has their own idea, they're like, oh man, I'm a bowling pro shop and I want all my balls over here and all my gloves over here and have them design it up. Have a graphic person create a little mock-up, or whatever, and then we can wire it up to whatever level.
Can you show me real quick? Can you add that in there?
Sure. So watch what we're going to do, okay? So watch this. I'm currently in the teacher interface right here, okay? I need to go up higher to that universe level so I can kind of control your different site, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say switch, and I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to say I need to go into Adilas. And I have permissions to do it. Currently, this is what I have set for my home page. I guarantee you this isn't big enough for the piece that I need right now, okay? So I'm going to go chooser. Let's go into the classic. I'm going to go into my corp homepage. What's the name of the corporation, Cherry Creek Adilas?
Cherry Creek Adilas.
So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go to the C's. And I'm going to come down to Cherry Creek. Here's Cherry Creek Adilas. I'm going to go right here to the admin settings. And here is the different little pieces, the custom home pages that you currently have. Looks like you have one for the CRM.
Mm-hmm.
You also have one for the split screen. Okay? Those are your two pieces that you have.
And that's all in HTML code?
So this is basically just a simple little list of what are the pieces of the puzzle. Okay? So what I'm going to do right here is I don't remember what it's called. So just for a second, I'm going to actually hit back, and I'm going to take you into the play sites, and I'm going to go down to that school one. So I'm going to scroll down to, it's called School Services, and I'm going to go into its admin settings. And right here I'm going to say, it was called this, Custom Teacher Student Home. And instead of calling it the Teacher-Student Interface, I'm going to go Control Copy. And I'm going to come, basically all I did was copy that. We're going to modify it for you, okay? So I'm going to hit back, and now I'm going to go back to the C's again. And we'll find Cherry Creek Adilas, to the admin settings. Just so you know, this admin settings is also where we control your e-commerce settings, okay? Just so you know, like, we give you web presence settings, but we don't give you the e-commerce settings because they're totally different animals. Do I want to show my stuff, or do I physically want to sell online? And do I have all of my merchant account settings? So we have to kind of pull that into the admin level. So watch this, Santiago. We're going to go right here. I'm going to say, cool, we're going to just kind of add a new little piece of the puzzle. I'm going to go hit paste. And we're going to call it, do you guys call yours salesperson and student or client, or what do you call it?
We just, we do prospects and salespeople, yeah. Well, salesperson, I would say, because, there's always one of them.
So how about this? Is that how you spell prospect?
S-A-L-E-S, sales.
Oh, you missed it there.
Good call, good call. We're blind. So basically,
The print looks fuzzy on here. So.
That's why I'm
It's a little out of focus.
that's okay, no problem. So just a second, let's actually, let's modify that for just a second. That does look way out of focus.
You know.
I know, look up here.
I need glasses. I lost my glasses and they lost more, so.
So this sounds like a project for Russell.
Yeah,
Where you could do this,
Oh yeah.
change it for CRM instead of school.
Yeah. Well, this guy's, he's pretty good. He's pretty good at helping do some training for something. Around IT work.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to get any better. I
So.
tried it. I'm not sure what's wrong, but the font isn't coming.
Let's do that right there, okay?
So if you ever need anyone, just let me know.
I'm sorry, it's a little fuzzy, guys.
That's right.
Okay.
You got that 88-inch plasma LCD TV up there.
Cool, so Santiago, just for fun, watch this. Can I have you come up here for a sec?
That's it.
I'm going to actually log out physically out of this environment, and I'd like you to go ahead and log in, and then you're going to go to your chooser. Okay, so hit chooser, scroll down a little bit,
There you go.
and there's a new one that you have, and you basically have it, like basically we're able to load it in there through the admin type settings. Okay.
Pretty cool. So.
Doesn't say, where'd that go? Get it back.
So now I could go into my settings and change all these names and.
Okay, this is a graphic, and so like what you do when you get into graphics, you can't just automatically change it. You have to have a different interface. If you're like, ooh, if I change it here, it automatically knows how to cascade that into the graphic.
Okay.
What we would do is we basically say, Russell, let's make one for these sales guys. Similar thing with a little layout like this, and then all of a sudden, instead of it being a little desk and an apple and all this kind of stuff, you're going to be able to kind of like, cool, these guys are calling people and they're doing that kind of stuff, but like,
All this is awesome. Just, you know.
yeah, it adds tons of options. But basically, you now have that inside of Cherokee Catalyst as an option for one of your pieces.
That's cubicles there.
Yeah.
Yeah, cubicles. Yeah. How funny.
Phones, cubicles and phones. But yeah, I think it's, we'll get
That's on the
Russell.
water fountain for that break time.
That's funny. That would be hilarious. No, but literally, you can do that. We were talking to a guy, and he's in maintenance, and he's like, "Oh, I'd really like it to kind of have like this workbench, you know, and like you have your toolbox over here, and you do this and this." And, like we were talking Flash, like instead of just a standard graphic, he wanted to click on the toolbox and have it open up, and like just for fun, you have like a little picture of a lady or something, like not really bad, but like you can imagine, kind of like in a machine shop, like
Yeah.
somebody in a bikini
A
or
nice
something.
calendar.
Just some funny little thing like that, but just being silly. But he was like, "Oh, I could totally see how my guys would think that was funny, you know, like go to the toolbox or just being silly." But
It's the best thing to not, you know, because people have to work off this every single day. You know, sometimes 24/7, and if you can kind of customize it to the way you want it to look and feel, and you know, you can get a little giggle out of it and a chuckle every now and then. Why not, man? It makes your day easier.
it does. It makes your day easier for sure. So that's how we actually add your custom settings. But basically, if it was a specific custom wire job, what we would do is we would figure out what the goal is. We'd wire the whole thing up, and then like, okay, sweet, let's launch it. Let's get it ready. Let's create a little thumbnail. We do some pieces in the background so that it kind of like makes it ready, and then we're able to virtually play at that level at any point. But Russell, who was here in the Denver training last time, he's the one who actually created that particular environment.
So is he still doing a lot of the e-commerce stuff?
He's doing some graphics for us on some different pieces.
Oh, it was Danny. Yeah.
Yep. Danny Schuford's doing some of the e-commerce pieces of that. So, awesome. So currently I switched corporations. Where would you guys like me to go?
Oh, your brother knows.
My brother Russell, correct, yes. I actually, I solicit a bunch of my family, okay? Shannon, she's helping me out. We have my mom, Cheryl, my dad, my brother Russell. He does kind of graphics and some fun stuff like that. He's done a bunch of logos, like logo work for us. He did this little fun little interface. I have my brother Jared. He's doing video editing. Like, we got the family business going on here, man.
I got my cousin-in-law back here, James.
Nice, nice.
And then, you know, one of our good friends, brother. So, you know, that's how you do it.
Awesome, for sure. And the nice thing is they don't throw tomatoes at you or anything, huh? Awesome. So this is just kind of a little light introduction to Adilas. We haven't even gone into any sort of depth or anything. Are there other places that you guys would like me to explore, things that you think that are important as far as like, if I was going to introduce something? Santiago,
Okay,
please.
so say I have 2 locations.
Okay.
And I want to transfer my client list from one location to another. Just because sometimes, like, what I was thinking about doing is having, you know, adding another round of, you know, products that I offer. But I also want to kind of separate my client list, because some of them are just residential, are consumers, and some of them are business. So, I mean, instead of me having them all mixed in one, is there a way that I can kind of separate them without manually kind of doing this?
Okay. The answer is yes and no, kind of depending on how you wanted to do it. One possible solution would be even related to like this teacher-student interface. There is a brand new permission that basically says you can have a customer and you can assign it to a single salesperson.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to, you could. Are you talking keeping them in the same corporation? Are you talking just a category?
Well, I'm kind of trying to figure this out, because I might want to keep them under the same corporation, but kind of separate them as kind of locations.
Okay, so your customers are technically not tied to a location. I'm going to go to this little particular industry right here, okay? So your customers is this entire vein right here, alrighty? What happens is your locations, imagine this model if you duplicated it, okay, and stacked it. Okay, that's where you start getting into locations. Technically, they would all be kind of related to the same customer base for that location. If you wanted to say customers that you didn't want to talk to anybody else, you would actually want to have two separate worlds, if you will, like two little worlds, and then you'd have customers here, and then if you ever needed to connect them, you would use the API, which would virtually say, hey, pull from the blue world and connect it with the purple world, and you could actually do that like 100%, okay?
Now, when we do kind of do that connection, is there a way can we limit the permissions on saying, hey, I don't want this guy to go in here and change his name off of that name? You see what I'm saying? This way, even though I'm giving everybody access.
Okay, correct. And so what ends up happening, and it gets into permissions, okay? You can see how a role-based model would break in a heartbeat there, okay? You can't just be, cool, you're in sales, because all of a sudden you're like, I want you to be in sales, but I don't want you to touch this, but I do want you to touch this, and I want you to share, but don't overwrite. Like, you can't do that in a roles-based model. It breaks too quickly, okay? So what we do is basically we would look at what you want to do is you figure out your questions or problems, okay? And then you're kind of like, okay, how do I want to kind of play this game? I know I have customers, and I know I want to kind of keep them separated, but I have multiple people that want to touch them. How do I allow them to be able to touch these different pieces, okay? So one way that you could potentially do it, are they mixing? Are your salespersons mixing as well?
Well, sometimes, so what we do, and this is just kind of a day-to-day routine, is, you know, we're hitting a list of industries, but I've been doing this for a long time, so maybe I enter them into the system. Or maybe somebody outside that hasn't worked with. So one of the things I make sure they do is before they, you know, start entering into the system, do a search, see if it's there, add notes. What I don't want anybody to do is say, hey man, this one's hot. Let me take it. And then we just switch the salesperson to my name from his name. So I want to kind of limit what they could actually, maybe that might just be one permission that I want to do is, you know, nobody's allowed to kind of edit the salesperson.
Okay, so that's actually a way that can happen. That's not a problem. What it is, even right this second inside of Adilas, we have a number of different permissions. I think I need to kind of take you to that small little block. There's basically 3 permissions that we have right now for salespersons, and it may or may not work for your environment, but let me just show you what we have. Okay, so right here, I can't get to it from this particular interface, so I have to go deeper. Often I'll go to the classic homepage or one of these other interfaces to kind of get a little deeper into like my permissions, okay? So this,
then I would have to change these for each employee too.
Okay, so what you have to do is you have to, there's multiple different ways that you could possibly do this, okay, Santiago? Customers, your virtual customers, you have a thing called a customer type. You can automatically put them in a different type.
Yeah.
However, there's not a permission that says, let me just talk to this type and this type and keep everything global. What we have is it's either global, general, like what we would call our basic permission. I'm actually going to go into it really quick. So on my name right here, I'm going to go to maintenance, which is where your customer information is. And here's your basic pieces of the puzzle. Okay? So this guy right here, I know it says student, but these are your customer permissions, okay?
So employee, is that 92?
Currently it's 92, 93, and 94. We'll see what we can do when we take our first break. I'll see if I can't modify this thing so we can get it. That's going to be a little difficult if you can't read it there, okay? But, okay, 92, 93, 94, okay? So your basic one is the first one. This is basic, this is a limited, and this is the admin. Okay, those are your 3 permissions for customers, if you will, okay? So this green one, you probably want most people to have this one, no problem, okay? What this does is says, hey, I can add it, I can look it up, I can do whatever. If you add this silver one, because it is limited, they are only able to look up ones that are assigned to them or that are unassigned. So if you leave things unassigned, that's another way to kind of let them get into it and go, oh, cool, I want to take this. Then they can virtually assign themselves to that user.
So I have that as active, that's my unassigned, and then I got pop 1 code.
Okay, great.
Or so.
Those are called your types, and so what that is that actually allows you to say, not only do I have students, but like in this particular entity, imagine something like this. student, faculty, staff, whatever I needed to do, okay? Like, those are called types. And the admin person is able to actually manage those types. They can manage the types, okay? This is your admin person. Your people right here, Santiago, are going to be here. Either just green, and then they have globally access to everything, or green and gray, or the silver one, which kind of would limit them to just ones that are unassigned and or that are assigned to them as a salesperson, okay? And there is some pain there because all of a sudden if you have, say you had 1,000 different customers out there, or your leads, anything that's unassigned they could see, and anything that was assigned to, say, James or Paul, they could see, but anything that's assigned to you or whatever, they don't even have access. They don't even know that those exist, okay? So
that is,
they're depending on what, that's
I
currently
assign
the
two
way that it's set.
salespeople on every lead.
What's that?
I assign 2 salespeople.
Okay,
Because
so
obviously,
technically that's fine. That's allowed.
And then somebody else.
Okay.
Just because I'm the one that's going to be doing the closing, the quoting, the.
Sure. I just wanted to kind of take you to the permissions page and kind of show you which pieces of the puzzle you have there.
And then I kind of want to mention this to everybody is because me and Brandon went through this crazy. I have total access to everything. I selected every single one of my options. And these grades actually kind of limit you in what you can. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
negatives. And you know, I say, well, I want to have access to everything in total access, but I'm selecting these grades and there's things I can't do, I can't see, I can't search. And so me and Brandon had to go through this and he had to really explain to me that, you know, sometimes these grades, you know, do kind of bring up the negative. And you got to watch what you're selecting sometimes because they will, you know, limit to what you can do, access, or see.
Not all the grays are limited, but anything else you could just go click, 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 and it's not going to hurt anything.
Yeah.
The gray ones, at least read it because there are positives and they're considered specialty, kind of like not everybody needs this tight of an entity, okay, or whatever. But some of the gray ones are specific. Cheryl.
Well, I think you also said, I know we're seeing numbers right now, but if you add something else in, the numbers may change, right?
That's correct. Just so you know, this is on a technical level, okay? The ID number will never change, okay? However, depending on if we added or edited permissions, it would change on that accordingly, okay? So like the ID numbers, this is behind the scenes. Remember how we were talking to invoice 1000 or whatever like that? Okay, the permissions all have their own ID numbers as well. This is just to help with the human readable portion of it, okay? For instance, go to permission number 22. You would just go like this, and you'd go up to number 22, okay? And number 22 happens to be edit, manage smart groups for buttons, okay? But the ID number is not number 22, okay? If I actually wanted to see what physically was ID number 22, it's totally different. It won't be the numeric value, which is Control F, and I'll go ID equals 22. Okay, it looks to me like it was add, edit, departments, okay, kind of dealing with payroll. But you don't need to worry about that necessarily, but the ID number will never change. That's its physical name, but the ordinal number or what you're actually seeing, that will change as we add, edit permissions. But it'll at least get you in the ballpark for the most part, okay? Great. Any questions? Those are great comments, and any of these little hints and tips are great because like other people are going to kind of do the same type of a deal. All right. So we've kind of just been doing a light introduction. We've kind of been flying all around. I think that we're getting kind of close to our first break, if you will, and I'll see if I can't modify this screen here, see if we can't get it to be a little sharper so that while we're in here we can see it a little bit better. Are there any questions or anything from online, Shannon?
There has not been thus far.
Okay, no problem. Let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break or so. We'll be back at about 10:35, and we'll just take a quick little break for a minute.